I met a family on the doorsteps the other night. He works for Edinburgh Airport. His family are on £15,000 income a year. He and his wife were worried about their kids, about their local school, about rising fuel prices, about rising costs of living. They told me the reality of life in Scotland today. And then they asked me that killer political question, the one that all politicians dread. What are you going to do about it? Well, we went through the tax changes that have just happened, taking people on the lowest incomes out of tax altogether. That's a little bit of help. And in the recent budget, fuel prices, rather than just going up by 5p as Labour wanted, have actually come down. Again, that's a little bit of help for people trying to get to work or getting the kids to school. Those are the kind of practical changes that have happened. But what people across Scotland are looking for me to do is to have some solutions for Scotland, some plans for our future about what needs to happen over the next 5 years. And that's what we're going to do. Our number one priority in Scotland today has got to be jobs, jobs, jobs. We have real plans to set up ways to get money to business that means they'll be able to take on more work, take on and create more jobs. That means doing away with expensive quangos that haven't delivered. Our growth figures for the Scottish economy are not good. They lag behind other comparable parts of Europe. It's time we saw action, and our plans will do that. We will introduce real measures of deregulation. We will cut back on the regulation that lots of businesses face. You know, I met a business in Dingwall the other week who showed me the 23 separate local, national quangos and government agencies that they have to deal with. If we could cut that even by a quarter, which is our plan, then we would make sure that business could take on more staff, could take on more apprenticeships, could provide work. I want to achieve that right across Scotland. In addition, we've got to restore excellence in education. We've got to give the next generation a real chance, and we've got to make sure kids, no matter their background, have the best opportunity at school and routes into work. That's why we would give space and freedom to our teachers to make sure they really can drive forward their schools and drive forward their standards in the way in which we all need. Why we would make sure, for example, that the brightest and most inspirational teachers are in Scottish classrooms, not looking for work or travelling overseas. That's got to change, and with the Scottish Liberal Democrats, it will. And we will make sure that our universities are properly funded, they're competitive, and that students get the kind of support they need. That's what we did in the recent budget in the Scottish Parliament. We worked to create college places for kids who really need them. We've worked to create the space and the money that they really need to ensure that they've got a chance. Finally, we'll make sure our services are kept local. You know, the other parties want to create a single police force. They would lose 3,000 police officers. And don't believe me about this, just ask the Chief Constables of Lothian Borders, or the Chief Constable in Grampian, or the Chief Constable in the Northern Constabulary, who have the best clean-up crime rate anywhere in the UK. They worry that instead of keeping police numbers at the levels they are, we would lose 3,000 police officers across Scotland. That's not going to cut crime, that's going to make the situation across Scotland worse. That's why the Liberal Democrat plans to keep your policing local are so important for our future. Not like the other parties will I allow centralisation back to bureaucrats and ministers who know best at Holyrood. Finally, I want our Scotland to be a country that looks upwards and outwards, is not insular and just throws insults over Hadrian's Wall. I want so much more for our country, and with the Scottish Liberal Democrats, you can have it too. I ask you to lend your support to us in this campaign.